Well, welcome in once again to another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Glad to have you joining us today from wherever you're watching the show on Facebook, YouTube, Apple app, whatever. Give us a like if you have a chance to, and please subscribe also to the channel because we like to get subscribers because we like putting out great content every week, and we've got a great show for you today. We have had golf course designers, golf course architects on the show before, and as you know, if you follow me at all, I love golf course design. I've had the privilege and the honor of playing golf with a number of designers, and it's really cool because when you're driving down the fairway, you can say, hey, why did you put the bunker there, or why did you shape the fairway like this, or this and that and the other, and you kind of get inside their head, and you understand a lot better what makes up the golf course to be what it is, whether you like it or not. And we've got a great guy on the show for you today that I want to tell you a little bit about. His name is Agustin, aka Augie Pisa, and he's an award-winning golf course architect that is both a member of the European Institute of Golf Course Architects as well as the American Society of Golf Course Architects, of course, headed by our good friend Jay Karen, who's the CEO. With over 2 decades of working on world-class developments, his designs are noted for quality, great aesthetics, and strategic golf designs, which I love. He is recognized by Forbes magazine as one of the top 100 inventive minds from Mexico. And Golf Inc. magazine touted him as an up-and-coming superstar. So there you go. We like talking to superstars. Augie and his team have been involved in more than 70 projects on 3 continents. Most recently, Augie joined forces with another familiar name, Golf Channel analyst Brandel Chamblee. This new duo is going to be working on new golf courses both here in the United States as well as Mexico. Pisa Golf has design studios in both Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta to be exact, which is absolutely awesome, and another beautiful place in Southern California known as San Diego. Augie has really too many awards and recognitions to go through on the show, but let me tell you, they are all awesome, and I'm sure well-deserved. So you could check them out if you want. Go online just to Pisa, P-I-Z-A, golf.com, and you can read all about it. So without further ado, my pleasure to welcome Augie Pisa onto the show. And hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien, amigo Dennis. ¿Qué tal? How are you doing?
Good. I wish. Oh, my pleasure to have you. I wish I knew enough Spanish to do the whole thing in Spanish, but I love when I get a chance to work on it. Let me start off and ask you this, Augie. Can a person be a good architect, a good course designer without having a good imagination? Can that imagination be learned, or is that something you have to be born with?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I studied architecture, as you well, and thank you for the introduction. My background is a 5-year degree in architecture, and there is a saying: you either have it or you don't. Mm-hmm. So that could be part of the answer of the question. Now, with that said, there are you can substitute probably a lack of creativity or a lack of something by creating muscle somewhere else.
Right.
You can hit the books, you can study, you can know the rules, you can know all of this, and you can create an excellent recipe. You can follow a recipe and create a beautiful plate. Yes?
Yes.
But that flair, that extra, I don't know what it was, but it was perfect. That ingredient will be missed if you don't have it.
That's very well said, and I could not agree with you more. It's just like some people make a better margarita than others, right, Augie?
Exactamente.
Yeah, they've got the chat. Speaking of education, you have a master's degree, very formidable, in golf course architecture from Edinburgh in Scotland, one of my favorite places. First, why there? And secondly, did that have any influence, because you were in Scotland, on your design philosophy?
You're going to touch some buttons there, Dennis. Just imagine my first schooling, my first job ever was working for Paragon for the great Jack Nicklaus
Right.
down in Cabo, doing Palmilla and El Dorado. Then from there, I went to work with Tom Fazio, or doing the project management for a Tom Fazio golf course at Querencia, his first south of the border project. And so just imagine with that schooling and all the majestic
Right.
design that goes
Ooh,
behind
boy.
that, quality, aesthetics, etc. So that was my first schooling. My next one was Robert von Hagi down in Monterrey, La Herradura. From then I applied to the master's degree because I knew that I had to get the books. Speaking of creating muscle, I knew that I wasn't going to win a major anytime soon, so I had to hit the books. I had to create muscle some other place.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to be a student of the game, and in order to become hopefully a world-class golf architect. So I applied to the master's degree, and the only one of its kind back then was in Edinburgh, exactly and precisely for golf course architecture. I
Awesome.
applied. After when I got the yes, after that I knew that there was 110 people that applied. There was only 11 of us accepted, so that was a nice little perk.
Great.
And now imagine being in Edinburgh, where everything is a little bit more introvert,
Yes.
a little bit more conservative.
Yes.
You have all these gems that were designed almost by nature.
Yes.
And so that was a huge schooling for me, because it brought me down to earth. My first assignment, I still remember it, and now I laugh about it. But at the time, I got my butt kicked with everything that I tried to do, because my first assignment was just a couple of hole assignment. What would you do with these couple of holes? And I created mountains, I created lakes, I created everything, because that's what I knew.
I love it.
Over here, everything's Big Mac, big shake,
Right.
big fries, the big truck. So for me, it was very kind of like expressive, kind of like, let's do this. It doesn't matter what I do with the earth. When I got qualified for that, when I critique, it was like, what are you doing? I mean, here, don't you like nature? Don't you respect nature? So it's like, I'm like, holy moly. And I got, wait a minute. I mean, I went to visit all the golf courses there, played the gems, studied them, breathed them.
Great.
Savored them, touched them, spoke to them. And with my master's degree, now I have what I think I have is a very competitive advantage in that respect when it comes to not being afraid of doing the extrovert, because that's part of my schooling.
Right.
Not being afraid of having character, the flair, you put whatever ingredient you want, but also bringing this down to earth when it comes to nature, sustainability, less earth movement, less is more. Which in architecture of Mies van der Rohe you learn. So all of that.
That's
and
great.
When you grab that into an umbrella of regular architecture, it all comes down to play. So yes, it changed me a lot.
Yeah, that's great, and that's evident by the work that you're doing. I know that you recently had an announcement about the renovation you did at the Marina Mazatlan golf course, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But what is the thinking behind a renovation, Augie? What are some of the main reasons for having to do a renovation, number one? And do you collaborate with anyone before you do the renovations, like the members, like the director of golf, like the owner of the property? How do you undertake that?
Definitely, it's a collaborative approach, and I think of myself and my firm as a collaborative architect. Anybody that has worked with us knows this, and we do it in practice. We actually do it. There's an anonymous saying that I like a lot, which means that if you are a competitive person or architect, you will grow incrementally. If you are a collaborative person, a collaborative architect, you will grow exponentially. So yes, I believe a lot in the collaboration. Now, in order to do that, you also have to be very well convinced and have a lot of security in yourself as to what you want and what you're looking for.
Right.
Because that's a thin line. The client calls you because of your creativity,
right,
of your experience, and of your service. So you have to have that very clear. But that doesn't mean that you cannot listen to everybody or most of the people because they know what they live day to day.
Right.
They know if operations or maintenance or anything, the climate, the weather, the logistics. It's just like building a house. If somebody calls me to build a house or to remodel a house, I'm going to spend quality time with the family. How old are your kids? What do they like to do?
Right.
How do you move? Do you like to cook? Do you not like to cook? So maybe sometimes you hide the kitchen. Instead of having the kitchen in the front like you usually do, you probably hide the kitchen because somebody else is cooking, so you want privacy
right,
in your home. So all of that goes into the golf course procedure. And number one, the brief is very important. The why. Why are you designing this for? What are your objectives, clients? What are your objectives in the economics, in the social, in the sustainability, in the economics? Very important, especially in the remodel.
Very
what are you
important.
doing? What do you want to? We do all this reassessment. Do we need to encroach the golf course a little bit to create other areas for other opportunities of return of investment?
Right.
Maybe a wellness golf, a pit, some of these concepts that we're doing that are less intimidating, that invite the non-golfer, because since 2018, we've started designing for the non-golfer. It's easy to design for the golfer. It's harder to design for the non-golfer and attract them.
Oh, absolutely. And that's great.
We learned that in 2018 when I threw the dice and went out on a limb per se when we designed Wellness Golf, our concept in Chamblee Resort. So yes, Dennis, that definitely there is the most important thing on a remodel or in a new one is the brief. Why are you designing this? If you get that right, you will have a terrific golf course for the objectives of what you want to accomplish.
Of what you want to do. Very, very well said. Real quickly, before we take our first break, Augie, you mentioned Jack Nicklaus. I'm sure you're aware that Jack and Gary Player kind of came together and they're forming a partnership on course design. Real briefly, what's your thoughts on that? Got two giants. They've both done a zillion courses together. Briefly, what's your thought on that?
Well, just imagine that I consider them both my mentors. I had the privilege of working 4 golf courses for Mr. Jack Nicklaus and 1 golf course for Mr. Gary Player.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just living a dream here in my career. On top of that, all of that was a fantastic experience with 2 giants.
Yeah.
I mean, top 3. I never had the opportunity of working with Mr. Palmer. I came close to doing it. Sad to say, Mr. Palmer doesn't have a golf project in Mexico.
Yes.
But I came close to working with the Great 3. I couldn't. For destiny, it wasn't there for me in that respect. But just being able to work with Mr. Gary Player, his excellent team, and Mr. Jack Nicklaus and his excellent team on beautiful projects like El Cortez, Punta Mita, what can I say?
Yeah, that just absolutely. It looks really good on the resume. But all right, we're going to step away. We're going to take a short break here on the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. We come back, we're going to have a lot more with our special guest, Mr. Augie Pisa. Learn a lot more about golf course design. Stay with us. We're back with you right after this.
When I first learned about Encore, I was a little taken back because I didn't know much about the ball. I went out and played a couple rounds with it, and I was just extremely surprised how this ball made up for what I was looking for in a golf ball 20 years ago. It's a very straight ball. It launches a little higher than other balls that I've used, which is ideal for the tour because we're playing firm and fast greens. A lot of the balls do fly very similar, but this ball reacts so much differently around the greens and inside 100 yards than any other ball I've ever played. The combination of this ball is the best ball that I've ever played.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get right back into this because we've got a deep dive on design with our guest, Augie Pisa. When you have a course, finish a course, Augie, and it's up and running, do you want to get feedback from either the management or the players on what they may or may not like about your design?
That's a good one, Dennis. Yeah, of course. I always look for feedback. Nowadays, with social media, it's easier to follow your baby. It's out there. You'll see the pictures, people enjoying it,
right?
Or not. Probably one of the things that I love about golf architecture and our architecture is that it changes with your sense of humor, doesn't it? I mean, you're out there playing it, and if you have a great round, I'm one of the best architects, and if you have
That's
a
exactly
not so great
right.
round, I'm one of the worst
I
architects.
hate you, right?
So
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is beautiful. I love that our architecture comes out and lives out there. It's that's what we do with our design philosophy. We like to play with the theater of the mind. And get under your skin. So yes, I love those reactions. And so yeah, going back, of course, I like to follow up on them. Although they're just like your regular kids. You cannot just take control of them. You have to let them grow. You have to let them learn their own mistakes. So if management is fantastic, it's fantastic. If management is not, then usually we get the call to see if we have any recommendations or something.
Right.
But that is placed on the brief again. When I say, so what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish the top, the Rolls Royce, the Maseratis?
Yeah.
Or where are you in that level? Because the design has to be coherent with the maintenance budget and operations of the future.
Totally.
So you cannot take everything for yourself. If there's 10 chips, you can't take 8 chips for the golf course and 1 for operations and 1 for maintenance.
Absolutely.
You have to know what the chips are from your client and separate these chips to be coherent and make an everlasting project for your client. We're responsible for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We take responsibilities for the success of these golf courses.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or not. Yes.
That's very well put. What would be the difference, Augie, in a design you would do when building a golf course within a community, which you do, and the difference in designing a golf course away from a community? How would you look at those differently and design those maybe a little bit differently?
Our philosophy lies on writing a good book, a great 18-chapter book. What is the audience? Again, let's go back to the brief. What is the audience? Is it a drama? Is it science fiction? Mm-hmm. Is it a novel? Those are the same not the same questions, but the same strategy when you start designing. What is it? Is it a resort course? Then we have to make it a little bit wider, a little bit friendlier, because golfers are just happy to break 100.
Right.
Is it a private course? Private membership only. Usually that type of audience, you're going to have a more challenging. Maybe you hide a few things. You want them to discover while they play during a few years' time. Mm-hmm. You want them to have home field advantage, so you want them to have local knowledge. So you design differently, yes, for every single golf course out there.
Sure.
And just like designing a good 18-chapter book, or as many golf holes as there is, let's say that it's 18 good chapters with the structure of a good book or a good art movie. Yep. That's going to take you through the plot, the rising action, the climax,
right.
The surprising ending,
right.
Another climax, all of that carousel of emotions we design in your experience.
Yeah, and you have to, doing what you do. Augie, as a designer, though, how closely do you work with, say, the property owner in your vision for the golf course? And what happens, say, if your vision differs from the owner's vision? How do you guys resolve any conflict that might arise because of that?
That comes with time, Dennis. As an architect, and as probably as any creative mind out there, there are 3 steps to a certain extent to in your career. The first one, the client's going to tell you how much you're going to charge and what you're going to do.
Right.
The second one is usually just what you're going to do or what you're going to charge. And then when you're in that third phase, which is when the magic really begins, and you are creative enough, and in your career, you stopped and you said, no, we need to do this because this is what is going to be fantastic experience. And your client buys it, and then you get to notice, people start getting to notice your creativity. Then you can start saying, this is what I charge, and this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So when it comes to that stage, then usually our clients call us now because they want a successful, beautiful project.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're at that stage now where they call us because they know we're going to deliver something special, a very great, a great 18-hole chapter book.
Right.
That of course we're going to call them and we're going to make them feel part of the project because they are. We're going to take them by the hand. But now at this stage, they usually ask us to do our magic and just be out there and create something beautiful, aesthetic, with character, and original and unique.
And I'll bet you the first question they ask you, Augie, is ¿cuántos?
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Yeah, okay, no. Anyway, you recently made an announcement, which I think is cool. You're teaming up with Chamblee to build some courses both in Mexico and in los Estados Unidos. Can you tell us about that? How did that partnership come about? And I'm so glad you're going to build here in the United States. Can you tell us where you're going to start your venture?
Yes, we already started in Desertica. a beautiful project where that I invited Brandel Chamblee. I can't say enough. We needed a whole other show to just talk about Brandel.
How did you guys
He is,
meet? How did you guys meet?
well, we met what 5 years ago at the Golf Channel. I was doing an interview there, and then I came back, and Matt Janella, who I've met in Mexico,
Yeah.
introduced me casually to Brandel. So we followed each other on social media, and of course, I've always admired his his analytics on
Right.
Golf Channel are second to none. And he's very bright, just as you see him on television. He's that bright and sharp right there when you're out there with him, just talking on a regular day. And I noticed that, and he started looking at my work as well. And it was maybe a year and a half ago where we actually kind of like, hey, Brandel, what are you doing? Let's catch up, because it's been a while. And he
Right.
answers me back immediately like a gentleman, saying, hey, Augie, I've seen your work, man. What's up with this concept? What's up with that concept? These are very unique things that I have never seen before. And I'm like, my jaw dropped, because I'm like, wait a minute, you interview all the greats. You're with everybody. You're exactly in the pinnacle of our industry. And you're telling me that you haven't seen all of these concepts ever? I'm like, I really took that. I mean, it
Big
really
compliment.
flattered me, to say
Yeah.
the least. Exactly. And I said, well, Brandel, I would love to show you my work. Why don't we get together? And we got together, and I showed him his work. And we just fell in golf love with each other.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And plus you have the added benefit, Augie, and I'm sure you know that he's a tour player and he knows what kind of works and what doesn't work and what people will enjoy and that type of thing. And that's a big advantage for you. Question before we take our next. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to compliment that, because yes, what he brings to the table is something that not just as he complimented me on my original work and unique projects, I also compliment him on him as to his analytics, his mentality, his all the information that he has. He's so studious that he just challenges me to become a better architect. And that's where we do the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
We kid around that he's the left side of the brain, I'm the right side of the brain, and together we have a fantastic golf design swing.
That's great. I'm sure you will. All right, last question before we take our next short break, Augie. How do you motivate people from here, say Nevada, Southern Nevada, Las Vegas, to travel to Mazatlan to stay and play golf with some of the issues that Mexico is having today?
Oh, well, what can I say, Dennis? That we've always had situations, It's like somebody inviting me to go somewhere in Detroit or go somewhere in Chicago where it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah,
it's the same situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to invite anybody to a dangerous place in Mexico. Nobody's going to invite me, I hope so, to a dangerous place in these areas of the United States. So it's the same principle from A to B, from the airport to your resort, to the restaurants, to the golf courses, and to the beaches, and to whatever you want to visit. It is just an amazing experience from door to door. The gate-to-gate experience, all of that is wonderful. Either if you go to Cabo, you go to Puerto Vallarta, to Mazatlan, to Cancun, it's going to be beautiful. I mean, Cabo is the busiest private airport in Mexico.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And there's a lot of private jets that coming in from Dallas, from California, from et cetera, et cetera. Let's forget about the commercials. They're all sold out, and you can check it and go online. So there is a few Americans and Canadians and people from Mexico that they're a little bit more, or maybe they watch less CNN and less Fox and enjoy their life a little bit better. That's the secret. I haven't watched a news channel since 2010, Dennis. And I
Wow,
promise
really?
you that. Since 2010, I do not watch a news channel. I live in a bubble because of that.
Wow.
And you know what's the difference is? The difference is better quality of life.
Well, you know
There
what?
is no difference.
I can believe that. I can believe that, Augie. I think with most people, they watched a heck of a lot of less news. They would be better off. All right, stay with us. We're going to take a step away again, take another short break. We come back, we'll finish up our show with Augie Pisa. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scores will love you for it. That's ONCORE golf.com.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the Lag Shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag Shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the Lag Shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to a continuation of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. And Augie, I want to ask you a question. Of course, you're getting into designs here in the United States and stuff. Do you think or know if there is a big difference or separation between environmental regulations in Mexico, for instance, as opposed to the United States?
There is. Just to answer your question bluntly, there is. We like to think of ourselves, and that is why we are considered, or we're in the top 25 most sustainable architects. We try to be ahead of the game. It depends on us. You know, I have a saying that let's design as we should, not as we can. If we follow the rules are always maybe 10, 15, or 20 years back when it comes to environmental. If we study, if we use logic, if we do our thing, we can be ahead of any regulations out there. We don't need to wait for regulations. We can just start designing sustainable golf courses now.
Right. Okay. You have something written down that I thought was interesting, and I want you to explain it for me. One of the things you have that you do is, quote, you have a dialogue with nature. What the hell does that mean? Are you talking to the flowers or trees or what?
Yes. Yes, El Guapo.
All right, I'm worried. I'm getting worried about you, Augie.
Oh, Dennis, I went when I was back in 2005, just before I opened and I had the opportunity to open Pisa Golf in 2006.
Yeah.
I went in late 2005, early 2006 to the Lacandonian forest or rainforest down south, the Mayan culture, and the Lacandonians, who are the last living Mayan families. They're out there in the jungle. So I went on a spiritual retreat. I went to do something for myself, and I was there. I met with the Lacandonians, and one thing called my attention is that when we were crossing the rainforest, one of the leader stopped, touched the ceiba, and did something, and then proceeded. And I asked him, I said, what did you do? He said, well, I was asking for nature's permission. Because, the rainforest is dangerous. There's a lot of threats, a lot of things, obviously, pumas and spiders the size of a watermelon. So I thought that it was very interesting because he said, yes, this way you show respect and nature can respect you back and you will feel part of nature. And you don't need, when you're in that frequency, when you're in that vibe, animals don't feel threatened.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, I loved it. And from then on, I said, I'm going to take this as mine. I actually did the same thing and took my shoes off, my boots off, and walked barefoot for like maybe a couple of miles in the rainforest.
Wow.
And it was just a majestic experience. From then on, I decided to take that into my philosophy. And every time I go into a new project where it's all a canvas, I don't like to say blank canvas because it's never a blank canvas.
Right.
On the contrary, you have to respect what's there.
Of
so
course.
It is just a canvas. And when I arrive to these canvases, I approach a key element, either a rock or maybe a tree, and I approach it. And yes, I talk to nature. I ask for its permission, for its permission to be and to create a dialogue with nature and be the best architect with mutual respect that I can be.
That's absolutely great. I imagine. Well, I was going to say you probably had a few cervezas before that, but we'll let that go. How much time do you spend in your office in Mexico as opposed to San Diego?
It is right now. As of this year, as you well mentioned, and thank you for that, Dennis. As of this year, we are now in an office in San Diego. We're celebrating 15 years of Pisa Golf.
Awesome.
And now we have an office in San Diego where I'm spending more time in San Diego.
Great.
Because it's detonating and it's starting and it deserves the time and the effort that we're giving it. Our design studio in Puerto Vallarta is luckily busy. And so we have everything there working. We have now. I've been very fortunate to have a beautiful team by women and men architects that know what they need to do, know what they have to do, and they do it, and they do it to perfection, or to my perfection anyway. And now I'm building and starting to build a new team down here in San Diego, doing this great relationship and partnership with Brando. And you asked me a little bit, and I don't want to not answer you. Our project is going to be a full remodel in the south of Texas, very close to the Mexican border.
Great, good. Oh, that's going to be absolutely awesome. San Diego is not that far from Las Vegas, Augie. What can I do to get you up here with a few pesos in your pocket so we could tee it up and we could go out and play golf?
Well, you just did it. I'm there. I would love to. Thank you very much for the invitation.
I really wish you would come.
Vegas fan.
I really wish you would come.
Huge Vegas fan, so let's do it.
All right,
You have
because I
fantastic
would,
golf courses there.
Augie, I would love to come down to one of your golf courses, the one you just renovated, because I've seen pictures of it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'd love to come down there and do a show.
Let's do it. We can come down to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta.
I'd love to do that.
You choose, and let's do it.
I would absolutely love to do that. All right. I really appreciate your time. I know how darn busy you are. And like I say, from what I've seen, your designs are absolutely super. I know all of the stuff that you're going to do in the future with Brandel. They're all going to be big hits. And I plan to stay in touch. And we'd love to have you back on sooner than later.
Let's do it. Let's do something sooner than later. I would love to. And keep up that great intro music that reminds me of the Stray Cats. Pretty cool.
I like that. All right, Augie, thank you. Hasta luego, mi amigo.
Hasta luego, amigo. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right, Augie Pisa, everybody. All right, we're going to step away. We're going to go to our game tip of the week with, excuse me, from Adam Bazalgett and Scratch Golf Academy. It's always good. And then we'll be back to close up the show after that.
Okay, we all know that putting counts for a lot in golf, short putting for sure. And this is a little drill based on some information from a fantastic book that I read that I suggest strongly to you. It's called Every Shot Counts by a guy called Mark Brody. Head of the Columbia Business School, he crunched down the shot link data from the PGA Tour and also amateur statistics and came up with value judgments on how shots can be measured and how strokes are gained. Here's a little putting drill that will help you determine how you stack up with the best putters. Now you'll notice the hole over here. I've put 3 balls that you can see probably 10 feet away from the hole. I have a pretty accurate pace, so I just paced off 3 paces, added a foot, and that would be within 6 or 8 inches of 10 feet from the hole. And it's crucial that you go at different angles. And the game is you have to putt 10 putts. Now, I wouldn't put 10 balls out because you want to create real games to sort of reality feeling. So by the time you've set the next 3 up or the next 2 up, gives you little breaks and makes it more challenging. But the long and the short, you have to hit 10 putts from 10 feet at different angles to the hole, not the same angle, and then you measure your score. And here's how you're going to score it. If you hold a putt, that's 2 points. If you miss the putt, but your first putt at least gets to the hole, that's 0 points. If you miss the putt, but your first putt fails to get to the hole, where there'd be no likelihood of making it, minus a point. And if you take 3 putts or more, that's minus 3 points. So how many points do you think would be the average thing? Well, here's what it is. A tour pro would average about 7 points. That's the median tour average. An 80 shooter, a typical 80 shooter would be about 4 points, and someone that struggles to break 100 or shoots right around 100 would likely be probably minus 1 point. So do this drill, see how you stack up, and you can do it again on different days. Try to make it as realistic as possible when you do it. Different angles to the hole, little breaks, and you'll get a chance to measure how effective a putter you are.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, everybody. Again, I want to thank Augie for his time and his knowledge, his expertise. I'm sure the stuff he's going to do here in the United States is going to be awesome. Hope maybe get him out to the Southwest, out our way, maybe one day, which would be absolutely great. But it's always great talking about architecture and stuff. Next week is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We still will have a show a day early. So count on that, and we wish you get a chance to get out and play some golf this weekend, and of course maybe on Thanksgiving Day if you're not busy cooking up your turkey. So until then, keep it in the short stuff, fairways and greens, and we will see you all back next time. So long, everybody.